What up, guys? CP the Toilet. Woo! Ha ha! Guess what time it is? We are gonna check out Harbor Freight. And you're gonna want to stick around throughout this video and get my exact thoughts on this in a very respectful manner. I'm not gonna be negative about this. There might be a little bit of sarcasm, so but you're definitely not gonna hear or see everything out there like you're gonna hear from this. And it's gonna be a different review than most people will give. So stick around. It's time to get into it. All right, guys. So I have picked up these new Icon 10-inch long reach pistol grip pliers. Multi-directional groove pattern is ideal for gripping and extracting damaged screws, bolts, and nuts. So these are made in Taiwan with a lifetime guarantee, and they are $19.99. Part number PSRP10. Icon and Harbor Freight is in no way affiliated to my channel, nor do they even like me. And I can promise you that. Ask them if you don't believe me. I was intrigued. Let's just say the least. I'm intrigued about these Icon pliers and their knockoff from Harbor Fake. Yes, I said Harbor Fake. I know, a little bit of sarcasm there. And I'm going to give you a total unbiased review that will probably shock a few people because, they're going to think that I'm going to sit here and bash on them and everything like that. And we're just going to simply point out the facts and the comparison. Now, if you look at these, can you tell? You might be able to because mine are used. And I'm sure that's not going to be the case with a lot of reviews that you see on these. But I am, however, they are looking very similar. And people will probably distinctly say, right off the rip, these are similar. But let's go ahead and get into these. The first thing that I want to notate, I believe that Harbor Freight has started to change the grips on these because the last pliers, which I don't have anymore because I think I returned those. I'm pretty sure I don't have the Icon ones. These will be getting returned too. I'm absolutely not going to keep Icon stuff. I'm just using it for a review. And I want to do a comparison side by side. As far as functional use, we'll get into that here in a second. So, if you click off the video because of that, you're going to want to stick around, trust me. But the grips on the snap-ons and the Icons are very similar now. Last time I got a pair of pliers, they have definitely changed the composition of these grips on these. And I noticed in the store that there was definitely, and trust me, if you go into Harbor Freight, you should check this out yourself. The snap-on grips should be a nice rubbery feel to them. They should have a nice, soft, cushy grip to them, much like mine do. That's what all the snap-ons have from the factory, and I think somehow Harbor Freight has definitely replicated that. The last ones, they were hard, and I noticed in the store the same thing, that a lot of the pliers were hard, and it looked like newer ones that were on the shelf were soft. So that must be something that they're working on as far as QC. And I can tell you right now, that's one problem I don't like about these. Is the fact is for guys that are going out to buy these, you're not getting the same plier every time. And that's a problem, honestly, for a consumer. I'm out here for you guys, and that's really what my main concern is, to make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck and give you an honest, outright opinion of the pliers. Now, looking at them side by side, like I said, at a glance, they look very similar. But, however, when we start dissecting these and digging into them deeper, we're going to notice one big difference right off the front is that the noses are different. The Icons are over here, and the snap-ons are right here. The Icons are made in Taiwan. The snap-ons are made in the USA. 100% made in the USA. These are out of cold rolled forged steel, US steel, which is, in my opinion, there's a better composition of this metal that's being used. I can tell you there's a much better spring rate difference in the snap-on pliers. They are very smooth. Now, when you get a snap-on plier, I hear a lot of people say that when they get them, they don't feel good, they're stiff. That is on purpose. And I will tell you that any person that is a machinist or whatnot will tell you right off the bat. For a fact, I built a 1911. Okay, I'm big into firearms. I built a 1911. If I got that 1911 back and it was loose and felt a little bit sloppy, I would not be happy. From a building standpoint, a manufacturing standpoint, and a quality handcrafted tool, which Snap-on is not for everybody. I get that. And this pliers are like $80 or something like that. I think I paid 60 for them. But I can instantly tell the difference when I squeeze them, when I feel them, that the steel is not the same. These feel a little bit more flimsy, and you just have to have them side by side. These have a better feel right here through the back spine of the wrench or the pliers. They definitely have a little bit better feel. Now, I'm not knocking on these, okay? So just hang in here with me because you're going to want to see the rest of it. These have a stiffer feeling. Not exactly what I would want to, when I'm comparing them side by side, I like to feel these better. Something about these, either the backbone, and you can tell right here, another thing is the handle size are different. There's just a smidge, and let's just go ahead and get my calipers out here so I can verify for you. We've got a 1659 versus a 1607-ish, 6-ish. So that's another thing. I'm already used to these pliers, so I can tell this automatically in my mind, and I never measured those before. I can tell that right now. This is the first time I'm doing this. No testing, no doing anything. I got the digital calipers laid out here. I'm looking at these, and I'm telling you, they just, the way my fingers fit and the way my palms fit, I don't feel like I get as good a grip. See how the purchase I get on this one is? A little bit more wrapped around. That's something that Snap-on goes into a little bit more than a lot of these tool manufacturers. There's a little more that's gone into designing a tool and using a tool. And that's why you're going to pay the extra cost for Snap-on. Obviously, they're making sure that you're getting a premium feel and quality for what you're paying for. When you're spending that kind of money, it's a custom tool. No different than a custom car. Now, another big difference is, we've already showed the handle's different, but the backside over here is different too. And let me show you the difference. Let me get the mic up, or the digital caliper up here. The size difference, we got an 1157 versus a 1262. They're almost a millimeter. Actually, they are a millimeter bigger, thicker. Now, why would they do that? The cuts are different here on the nose of these. These little nuances all add up to one thing, and that's all to quality. Obviously, they made them bigger up here because they needed to for strength. They're not using the same metal composition as what Snap-on's using. Now, I will tell you, is that going to make a huge difference? When you're pulling out screws, I doubt you're going to see that kind of difference. Do they function the way they're supposed to? And when using it for taking out screws or bolts or anything, yeah, they're probably going to do an okay job. And just to prove, let's just look real quick. Let's see how bad they are. As far as, let's put a punch on them and see what kind of divot we make. Okay, so there's our little test punch to see how soft the metal is. And I don't have a good way. Let me see if I don't think I can get this in here. No, that's not going to be small enough. But let's check out the Snap-ons and just see if we can visually see the difference. Not much of a difference. So the metal probably isn't really terribly inferior. But once again, I would have to do a Rockwell hardness. It is a slight bit deeper. If I had a good way to get it under a microscope and check, you could probably see. But I think, honestly, from the naked eye, it looks like the icon is a touch deeper, more pronounced. You can kind of see it there. So I think there is a little bit softer compound. But once again, I don't think you're going to really notice that. That's not going to affect the overall performance of the icon. So, but we're looking at a $20 plier versus an $80 plier. Will this get the job done? Most likely it will. Am I endorsing this for anybody? No. I'll tell you why I'm not endorsing this. It's not just for the simple fact is that I have a lot of animosity towards Harbor Freight. It's basically for the fact is I think these are not worth having in your toolbox. Unless you have extra money to spend, this is not a tool that I feel you will need, because I've owned these for going on probably 2-3 years now. I think I've had these, and I've used them a handful of times. I mean, they're definitely well used. You can see on the jaws they've been used, and they're okay. But this isn't a tool that I would absolutely say I need to have. It's not a must-have tool. So if you're in a budget-minded mindset, why would you be even looking at these? If you spend your money on these and you complain about not having money to spend on expensive tools, you're wasting your money. That's another thing. And a lot of people want to know why I don't like Harbor Freight, and I've said this in many videos before. First of all, we live in a capitalist society, okay? And that means that we all are free to make our own amount of money, and that's good. That's great. But we're also free to spend our money where we want to. And I feel like when you put your money into a company, you should know where that money's spending your money. If you're out gallivanting around on a $300 million yacht like Eric Schmidt is, buying extremely expensive art, and you're not giving back to the blue collar community. I mean, some people are going to come in here and say, well, he gives tools out to schools. Very minimal. He does not really care about putting money back in. You don't see him involved with a bunch of stuff, especially for a company that's making billions of dollars. They don't pay their employees a very high salary, and I think that's I think they deserve a little bit more, and so that way they can have a better quality, so they can have more training and understanding the tools that they're selling. For the money that they're making, they can definitely afford to give them a little bit more and also train them a little bit more so that they have the ability to tell to their customers about tools. When you go into a store, I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me. When you go into the store, you're on your own. I mean, they're basically stockers and cashiers there. I would like to see if they're going to continue to go, they need to invest more into their company, into the employees at least. The store layout's fine. That's fine. The other thing is, Eric loves to support anti-2A stuff, and I am a huge supporter of 2A and and our Second Amendment rights. And that is a fact. He's donated to the Blue Act group, and I'm not going to really get into. I could show you pictures of the stuff he does, but he goes in the background and donates, and that's just not my cup of tea. I don't want to give my money to somebody who's going to take away my rights. And I think that's something that we all need to be diligent about in 2024, is to make sure that where you're spending your money is something that the company isn't going to support against you. Now, people can say whatever they want to about Snap-on, but Snap-on doesn't get into politics like that. They're not getting into supporting those type of political campaigns, and that's good. If you're in a company, I think that's the best thing for you to do, is to stay out of those things. Why he gets involved? Well, likes to hobnobs with those types of people. But anyways, that's my thoughts. I gave you a pretty fair assessment of these. Are they terrible? No, they're not terrible. Are they the exact copy? Absolutely not. Are they worth buying? Another thing I will say, absolutely not. It's just not worth it, because you don't need them in your toolbox, and take it from a guy that already owns an $80 pair. The $20 pair isn't worth having either. But if you need to buy them and you don't want to spend the money on the Snap-on, they're absolutely a go. I'm not like I said, I don't want to do the Harbor Freight tool stuff, but unfortunately, here's the downside is YouTube is very pro Harbor Freight. Very pro Harbor Freight. Internet, social media is very high on searching Harbor Freight. Why? I have no idea. I want to show other things and give people other options out there. So that's what I try to do. But anyways, guys, that's the video for you. Hope you enjoy it. Remember, like, comment, share, subscribe. Ring that bell. Remember, keep your hands dirty and your money clean. Thanks for watching.